First day of school, last day of work. Life is full of transitions in the roles that we play. And what kinds of support, what kinds of coping mechanisms do people and institutions have to facilitate people changing roles? Well, let's look at one of the first ones. Transitioning into the student role as a young child. What are the things that we kind of expect and how do we help them? Well, we know impulse control is going to be a very, very important part of being a good student. Academically and socially, right? Emotionally. And because of that, we help students by giving them routines. We help them by maybe making a schedule, helping them with time management. Time management not just through the day, but perhaps also if there's a project going on, let's not just set up a deadline, but let's set up increments along the way that says by this day you should be at this point in the project, and this day you should be at this point in the project. We help them then with all these ways to learn to control their own learning. How do we transition to being an adult worker after being a child and a teenager? Well, sometimes this is, the individual has to do this for him or herself. But sometimes the business, the employer, the institution that you're working for kind of helps you along, does it for you. We're talking about things like scheduling, well, getting to work on time, yes, but scheduling on the job as well so that tasks are given the appropriate amount of time. Also, though, the new adult worker has to learn quickly how to handle personal finance. You're getting a paycheck, but you also have rent and expenses, etc. And balancing work life and personal life or family life. These are things that the young adult may have to come up with their own solutions. There may not be anybody helping them or training them in these things, but these are the obligations they have to make it in the new adult world. They've got to work through these kinds of issues. Transitioning at the end of a career to retirement. What kinds of things do we think about, and what types of things does the individual need to think about? Well, I mentioned previously mentoring other people in the organization or institution so that somebody or some people fill in the gap that you're leaving as you retire. There's also the matter of thinking about, as much ahead of time as possible, what are some alternative routines and activities I can engage myself in right from the beginning of my retirement so that I'm not floundering around looking for something to do because I used to be on such a rigid schedule and now all of a sudden I have all this time and what do I do with it? Well, give it some thought. Read brochures or look into senior activities. Find out what other people are doing and have done. Find out what are some choices you have in retirement depending on your interest, depending on your income, etc. What works for you and what will work for you, hopefully, as you make that transition. And of course, don't forget, besides these three right here, there are some minor transitions that also go on in people's lives. And so give that some thought, do some supplemental reading, and think about your own life. How in your own life have you handled transitions? How have you helped others with their transitions?